Hi there, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm Crystal Allen coming to you on a very beautiful day inside of Symphony Park. Well, it was an era of disco, bell-bottoms, afros, and Farrah Fawcett hair. Of course, we're talking about the 70s. We're jumping into the time machine and taking you back. We want to give you a sneak preview of our latest Las Vegas documentary, 70s Style.
The 70s was one of the most exciting times, I think, in our history.
It was kind of a rough and tumble town.
Ooh, polyester.
I wore the mini skirts and boots like everybody else.
People wore their hair long. I wore my hair long.
You had the women's movement, and then you had the civil rights movement, and you had the counterculture.
The 70s was a time when we were assessing, okay, where are we? Where are we going? How are we going to get there?
Beautiful music, beautiful. Okay.
And a big thank you to the Commission for the Las Vegas Centennial for making these popular documentaries possible. You can catch them all on City of Las Vegas TV's YouTube page. We're standing outside the cultural crown jewel of Symphony Park. Of course, that would be the Smith Center. And for the first time, it played host for a very special night for the City of Las Vegas. Let's go inside. Well, now we're inside the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. It is indeed an incredible venue and an amazing backdrop for the State of the City address. In fact, it was Mayor Shelley Berkeley's first State of the City address. But as we're going to show you, she is a mayor that has accomplished a lot of firsts in her life. Let's take a look. Do you want to take a look at the picture?
Oh, mercy.
Folder, take a look. Just take a look at the smaller picture. In that.
Yes, yes, yes. I most certainly do.
It was 1953. Mayor Shelley Berkeley, known then as Rochelle Levine, was just 2 years old.
You could tell even at an early stage I loved clothes. So here I am in a little hat and a coat with a purse and matching shoes.
And to this day,
My staff calls me a fashionista. My matching game is always on point.
she's still a fashionista at heart.
Nothing has changed.
Take a look at Mayor Berkeley's life, and you'll notice a common theme. She's a woman who's accomplished many firsts. Moving to Las Vegas at the age of 13, she was the first in her family to graduate from high school and college, attending Valley High School and UNLV.
It didn't matter if my sister and I were pretty popular. Of course, we were both, I have to say that. It mattered that you got good grades in school so you could make something of yourself.
And she definitely made a name for herself in school. Graduating with honors, she became the first woman to serve as student body president at UNLV. Her next step? Law school. Despite some challenges, she was not deterred.
I didn't have two nickels to rub together, showed up at law school. Here I am. Every summer I came home from law school, and I was cocktailing in those days. I worked in the casinos. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but the IRS wasn't really looking at tips at the time. And so I made enough money in the 8 weeks that I was home cocktailing to pay my whole way through the whole year, following year from law school.
Her plan? Become a lawyer and one day run for office. 6 years into that law career and pregnant with her first son, she was elected to the Nevada legislature in 1982. After serving 2 years in the legislature, she achieved another first. Mayor Berkeley became the first woman to represent Nevada's 1st congressional district in the United States House of Representatives. She served for 14 years.
Seeing how the trajectory of my life, I am very proud. I've left a legacy in the community in my hometown, and that is very, very special.
And now, another first for Mayor Berkeley. She recently delivered her first State of the City address at the Smith Center. Since taking office, she's been vocal about her priorities for the city.
I am loving every minute of the 14-hour days, 7-day weeks that I have been working on behalf of my wonderful hometown.
Since taking office, Mayor Berkeley has been committed to tackling the issues on which she campaigned. First,
the Badlands is settled. A 9.5-year nightmare is over, and the city can now move forward. Lennar has purchased the Badlands Golf Course and will build 1,440 homes on land that is now a giant empty hole.
next,
Cashman is under contract for slightly over $36 million. Lennar, once again, is the purchaser with plans to build workforce housing on the property.
another priority, protecting animals. It's an issue
Due in large part to bad human behavior. Abuse, abandonment, and neglect of animals is unacceptable in our city. To this end, on May 9th and 10th, the city is partnering with 2 rescues to ensure that we provide free spay and neutering to people who would like to have this service for their pets.
The mayor says the city is also aggressively tackling backyard breeding. Another complicated challenge for our city, homelessness.
Human beings should not be living on the streets. I am committed to doing everything I can to help the homeless and protect our residents and visitors alike. In early June, I plan to start meeting with the shelters and groups that work with the homeless to devise a plan to get the homeless off the streets and be able to lead more productive lives in our great city.
When it comes to moving the city forward, the mayor spoke on economic growth and development, starting with Symphony Park. New developments like the AC Marriott and the Element Hotel by Westin, the Southern Land Company's 22-story apartment tower, all set to open later this year. There's the groundbreaking of Cello's 32-story tower, adding residential, shopping, dining, and office space, as well as plans for a new art museum. The mayor says it's just the start of many exciting projects to come. Speaking of new projects, there's Civic Center, a new addition to City Hall.
Which will bring almost all of our city services to one location in downtown, where well over 1,000 of our dedicated city staff will be working. In addition, the plaza will provide a large gathering place for our city residents. We are creating a fantastic space for concerts and festivals and community celebrations, like perhaps another Stanley Cup victory party. How perfect.
And sprinkled throughout the mayor's address, some lighthearted life moments from the Golden Knights.
And by the way, these overtime victories are killing me.
It was indeed a very special night. Hey, and don't worry, if you didn't catch the entire State of the City address this time around, you can always watch it again on the City of Las Vegas TV's YouTube page. Coming up, everything is in bloom. From an urban farm offering an oasis in a food desert to a new restaurant called The Blooming Beastro, where young people are getting a second chance. Stay with us.
Selfie. Nailed it.
Welcome back, everybody. You're watching City Beat. I'm your host, Crystal Allen. Well, there's a grassroots organization growing deep roots in the 89106. It's called the Abodto Collective. Abodto actually means community in Igbo. That's the native language of the Igbo tribe of Nigeria. This stunning mural adorns the outside of a new grocery store. We'll tell you a little bit more about the mural a little later, but first the story of this grocery store, how it's connected to the Abodto Collective, an organization fighting multi-generational poverty in the community.
Well, I'm Tamika Henry, the executive director here at the Abodto Urban Farm. We're located here in the historic West Side, right in the heart of the 89106, and this is the Abodto Urban Farm, so I welcome you.
This half-acre of land was once a deserted lot.
Yeah, you gotta come and see what's growing on at the Abodto Collective.
It's now a blossoming and bountiful urban farm.
The thing I love about this the most is that each little flower, it tastes just like onion. Tastes just like chopped onion without the tears.
There's corn, cabbage, even tomatoes,
I don't know, who gonna taste this one?
along with various types of lettuce like spinach and kale.
So even with the kale, like, we don't use any pesticides out here. And to make sure that things are safe for our community, you know, I'm on quality control. So I'll come out here, break it, taste it, and see how it is.
That quality control extends to the 23 fruit trees along the perimeter of the garden. And now all the fresh produce has a place to be proudly displayed. The Abodto Greengrocer. It's an oasis of hope in this food desert, a place where 1 in 5 families struggle to put food on the table.
The amount of impact that we've been able to have through this time has been, you know, it's been life-changing for some, and we just want to continue to do that.
It's located at 1300 C Street between Owens and Washington in the historic West Side community. It's an extension of the Abodto Collective, which starts by meeting basic needs like freshly grown food to the community. This outreach builds trust, allowing them to help families, or neighbors as they call them, create pathways from poverty to prosperity.
You know, we provide them food and we build more relationships with them. We realize that they have additional struggles and challenges around housing, around financial security, around the need for childcare so they can go to work.
The nonprofit connects families to emergency resources for things like rent and long-term solutions like workforce training and childcare assistance. As for the food in the grocery store, there are no price checks. It's all donation-based.
Because we don't want anyone to walk away feeling that they couldn't afford it.
The Abodto Collective and now the Abodto Greengrocer is staying rooted in the mission to grow a healthy oasis in this food desert.
It's good, it's yummy, y'all gotta come have some.
Well, from the farm to the table, that's a perfect segue to our next story. There's a new local spot called the Blooming Beastro. It's near Rancho in Charleston. It's serving up delicious dishes with a side of hope. Let's check it out.
I want this to be a space of hope. Not only for those that work here, but for the entire community.
The Blooming Beastro is a restaurant with a mission.
It was so enjoyable to walk in. I had 2 really bright, youthful faces greet me.
It offers young people like Jennifer Briones a second chance.
I was in recovery. I still am.
And provides young adults with no job experience a starting point. Just ask Carlos Ramos.
Not only do I get to become more independent with myself, I get to see what type of different job routes I could take.
For Briones, this opportunity is keeping her on track and helping her blossom into a working professional.
I'm still smiling, and I still have my hospitality voice at home.
The hospitality inside the Blooming Beastro was well received on this busy afternoon.
We were checked on multiple times, brought really delicious food.
One of the menu items, a crowd favorite, especially with this patron. Ward 1 City Councilman Brian Knutson is enjoying a dish named in his honor, the Knutson Bowl.
Lots of vegetables, delicious rice. I got the salmon add-on. I highly recommend anybody come in here, get an add-on.
It's a thank you to the city of Las Vegas and the councilman who represents the ward the restaurant calls home.
If you're watching this, I'd encourage you to get it because I want it to keep my name on it.
1, 2, 3, the Blooming Beastro! Thank you, everybody, for coming today.
This is the ribbon cutting for the restaurant. Co-owner Samantha Still says the city has been there every step of the way as it worked to open its doors to locals and tourists.
I like to say come in and enjoy, your delicious meal in here, because what is happening is you're nourishing your body but feeding your soul.
And at the same time,
we want this space to be a space of awareness, a space of hope, a space of prevention, a space of lifting stigma.
We took a tour with Still toward the back of her restaurant, where the mood takes a more measured tone, tackling the struggles of drug and alcohol disorders.
And here we have our in honor of.
A door covered with celebrities who struggled with or lost their lives to substance or alcohol abuse.
On the back side of the wall, we have the in celebration of.
Celebrities who are in recovery or working each day to stay there. Still also has Narcan and fentanyl testing strips on site.
This is our suicide prevention wall. We've got Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, and of course Robin Williams, and then the 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline.
The journey to recovery is personal for Still, who struggled with an alcohol disorder for years.
My second chance also started with my recovery.
We all fall down at some point in our lives. We all need a second chance. That's what the Blooming Beastro represents. That's what the medical district represents, is we want to give everybody a second chance.
And the Blooming Beastro is making a name for itself, serving up fresh food for the community and providing a fresh start for people needing a second chance. Again, the Blooming Beastro is located off of Rancho and Charleston, and it has a host of local and state partners, including the Restaurant Hospitality Institute, owned by Mark Still, co-owner of the Blooming Beastro. He also happens to be Samantha's brother. Okay, I'm standing in front of this beautiful tree, and while trees may not bloom, they can grow to some pretty impressive heights like this one right here. For more on how to get your trees growing, we're going to turn it over to the city's urban forester.
Morning, everyone. My name is Brad Dossler. I'm the urban forester for the city of Las Vegas. And today, as we move into this spring season, we're going to be going through a demonstration on planting trees. This can be applied to trees of all sizes, different plants, but we're going to show you some different tips and tricks to get your yard looking good. Before we get into any of the actual work of planting a tree, the first thing that we have to discuss is why and where we're planting. What type of tree are we going to plant? So when you're looking to plant a tree in your landscape, you really need to consider the space that you're going to plant it in, and you need to consider the species and the mature size of that species. We chose a red push pistache. So red push pistache is definitely a heat tolerant tree. It does not have heavy water use needs. This is a tough shade tree out here. Now we're here at our planting location. We've decided on our species of tree. We have plenty of space for this tree to grow, no obstructions. We're going to talk about the planting hole a little bit. So when you guys are out there preparing to plant a tree, we want to dig a wide hole only as deep as the root ball. So you don't have to dig any more than is necessary, but we do want to over excavate the hole. And the reason for that is compaction. And so compacted soil really makes it challenging for a tree to get its roots out into the native environment. So we want to help the tree along to get established. So we over excavate the hole so that when we backfill it, it's full of loose soil that the roots can easily move into. So now what we're going to do is we're going to locate the root flare of the tree. In this case, I'm going to take this tree out of the pot so you guys can see a little bit better. But if you're planting something a little bit larger, like a 24-inch box tree, where you can't easily remove the tree from the container, you can definitely do this work with the container still on. So what we're going to be looking for is the topmost roots that radiate away from the trunk of the tree. So we want all of our roots radiating away like these lines, like spokes from a bicycle wheel. So when we encounter roots that are circling, those are the ones that long-term can be problematic to a tree. So as this trunk continues to increase in diameter, these roots can be restricting if they're above the root flares. These are the fine feeder roots that have actually moved up into this top layer of soil. The tree, as you can see by this staining already, this tree's planted a little bit deep and we haven't found that root flare yet. This is the root flare. This is where this topmost root is radiating out from the trunk of the tree. So this is the height that we're gonna shoot for. So we're gonna cover this back up, but we needed to locate this and then remove all the roots that could, in the future, kind of obstruct the growth of the tree. So now that we have the true height of the root ball, we'll measure that, and we're in only at about 10 inches. I'm gonna show you here. We're gonna backfill the hole so we get the appropriate height, and then we're gonna place the tree and go from there. So we're getting ready to plant the tree. As you guys can see in the camera here, this tree has a really smooth exterior, and so that's a result of being grown in a smooth-sided container. Similar to locating the root flare, we're gonna shave the sides of this pot. So what we wanna do is we wanna try and eliminate any defects that come from container-grown trees. So you can see this one kind of hit the side and then squirrels its way down. We'll cut that at the turn. There we go. So let's plant this tree now. We're gonna take it, our shaved root ball here, place it in the hole. So you can see we got our tree, we're ready to go. We get a lot of questions about amending soil, adding organic matter, these kind of things. In this situation, we're gonna backfill with the native mix, and this is how we plant all of our trees. So the concept of that is just that, you know, even if we amended this small area, eventually the tree is having roots well out into all this native mix, so it needs to become accustomed to our soils, to the pH, to the texture. And so instead of creating multiple environments for the tree, we backfill with the native mix, and we choose trees that are well adapted to our soils and our climate. So we're just gonna give this root ball just a little bit of water. We're not gonna overdo it, but we're just gonna give them a drink. We've completed our planting of the tree. And anybody who lives here knows that, you know, we don't get enough rainfall to support plants naturally, so we're gonna have to install irrigation.
A special thanks to photojournalist Eric Sorensen for that story. Hey, we are outside Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station number 1. And Eric, speaking of which, has covered some really cool stories when it comes to Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, and they've been gracious enough to let us tag along. We're going to show you a couple of them, but you're going to have to wait till after the break. Stay with us.
If you smoked, this new lung cancer screening could save your life. Visit SaveByTheScan.org.
Congratulations to our City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Irene Cedillo. Irene works hard to keep our community safe when emergencies hit. She manages the city's Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT. With CERT, the city has a team of professional volunteers ready to support first responders and get help to residents quickly. As a volunteer coordinator, Irene has organized dozens of events, trainings, presentations, and much more to keep the CERT team ready. Irene manages a team for all of Clark County and serves as a facility and events coordinator. For all your hard work to make our community a safer place to live, we honor Irene Cedillo as our City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month. Welcome back to City Beat. I'm your host, Crystal Allen. We are outside of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station 1. And when there's an emergency, our firefighters are trained and ready to answer that call. We actually stopped by one of Las Vegas Fire and Rescue's technical crew trainings, And as we found out, we had to look up to catch all the action.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Dustin Shalin. I'm the Special Operations Training Officer. And right now we're just getting into positions, getting our gear on. And so we'll be getting started in just a minute on the actual exercise.
He's going to help you get in the harness this time. Perfect. I'm going to get a little something set up for you so you're safe at the window. Perfect. And these guys are going to pick you out of the window.
We're fortunate today. We have Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knutson that's with us today that we're going to rescue outside of our tower.
Take you about, I don't know, halfway up. Oh, awesome. And we're going to come down and they're going to grab you out of the window and then lower you to the ground.
Totally ready.
All right.
So the way it's going to work is we're going to do that scenario first, and then we're going to have assignments that we give to all the different students, and they're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff at the same time.
Is the victim going to be in a harness and a helmet? She's in a harness, helmet, and safety glasses. Ground from roof. Hasty's over the edge. Copy, hasty over the edge.
They have what's called a hasty, so they have a rapid rappel or 2 rapid rappel stations over down this side. And so that would be for our initial rescuer to just get over the edge of a building and go down and meet up with whoever's being rescued. Find out if there's any medical problems, complaints that way. Maybe be able to put on a tourniquet or reposition an airway for that. And once they get that done, up top, they're creating another system, a lowering system. And what we don't see on the other side where it's anchored off is where we have 2 more rescuers over there that are managing the devices to lower the rope system.
Edge from rescuer, we're approaching 5 feet.
We'll be talking to the patient, finding out. He'll also be talking to the other hasty rescuer, finding out what ailments our victim may have. Mayor Pro Tem Knutson is on the system right now, so he's hooked up in the harness. So we keep the person that we're rescuing underneath the rescuer, and that way we can manage them against the face or the wall that we're on. He has his feet up against the wall. He can kind of lean back and keep them out and away from that wall and any hazards that might be below him.
Victim rescuer on ground, selected.
If you look over to the right, we got a little race going on. So anytime we go down a rope, we have to be able to also ascend a rope system. We need to be able to go back up. Let's go, Watson! Padilla's in the lead. Oh, Watson's coming up. Oh, he's gonna go. There we go, let's go! Dig deep! Ah! Give him a round of applause.
And some of our city leaders got the chance to suit up and see what it was like to walk in the boots of some of our firefighters. They took part in an event called Fire Operations 101. It was really an opportunity for them to learn more about what our firefighters go through to keep us safe, including rotations about vehicle extrication, some canine bomb search demonstrations, performing CPR in a moving ambulance. It was really a hands-on opportunity for them to learn. There you see some of our council leaders. Councilman Knutson of Ward 1, Councilwoman Diaz of Ward 3, Councilwoman Frances Allen Polinsky of Ward 4, Councilwoman Chandra Summers Armstrong of Ward 5, and Councilwoman Bruni of Ward 6. They were there, also joined by some of our deputy city managers, our city attorney, our department directors, and others. And truly, it was quite the learning experience. Now we're going to take you inside City Hall for this. The Las Vegas City Hall Grand Gallery is where you can catch this cool exhibit, Stories from Backstage, Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas. It's actually been extended through July 17th. It features more than 100 costumes and exhibits from its Las Vegas-based shows. The Neon Museum teamed up with Cirque du Soleil for the exhibit, again extended through July 17th. Definitely a really cool exhibit for the entire family to check out. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of City Beat. I'm Crystal Allen. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next episode. Find out what's going on all over the city of Las Vegas by subscribing to the City Beat e-newsletter. Simply scan this QR code to get a preview of each show twice a month.